of Two Men in Black and White, an honest conversation. Womp, 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 womp. That's what you heard if you tuned in last night to the president's just, BS address. It was like, the magician in Frosty the Snowman, but worse. It's just a joke. Everything he says is just more, maniacal than the last thing. And, he's still riding the same old grievances. It's been a year already, Donald. You haven't done anything, including the thing you said that was going to happen on day one is that prices were all going to come down. But Donald says, hey, don't believe your lying eyes. It's not nearly as bad as you think. Yes, it is, you fucking moron. It is. And oh, by the way, folks, I said it yesterday. I said it the day before. He doesn't give a shit about you. Brock and Ellis joins us now live from the beautiful winter confines of the upper Hudson River Valley. You got some snow up there?
Yeah, we've had some snow. Today was a
Got
little
some.
warm. It was melting today, but yeah, we've had some snow.
All right, feeling like a Christmas season up there, isn't it? You got some Yuletide sprinklings for us. Maybe some hot apple cider on a Friday night with the neighbors dashing through the snow. I, I,
Um,
I mean, it's all good. It's all good. It's
we
all
do have rising energy prices, so I hope it's not a cold winter.
bro,
Um,
bro. The rising energy prices, he said, it's not that bad, and they're gonna go right down. Not that bad. So when your energy bill's $400, like ours is down here in Atlanta, right? Because the houses are made like shit, right? We don't have those tight, well put together homes, that will take your finger off. Like I had a house in Texas, man. It was so well built. The door would slam if you opened it, without enough force and take your finger off. These houses down here, the wind blows right through. So it costs a fortune to heat and cool. And this guy's killing us. And remember, we had those folks on the Energy Council that those Republicans that got voted off because they weren't doing enough to help us. They lost their seats.
yeah. Oh,
The
and it's
Democrat,
and the electricity grid's going up because so much of the power is being soaked up by AI, right?
yep,
Which is why states
yep,
want to, one of the reasons states want to regulate it, but of course Trump's getting paid off by all those guys, those tech
yeah,
bros. So like he's fighting for federal standards and hands off. I mean, that's just
right,
yet another area where corruption at the top level works its way down to hurt the pocketbooks of everyday Americans.
sure,
Yeah, I think, Trump tried to bullshit his way through the speech last night. He tried to blame and lie, right?
yep,
That was really the two tactics. I think I I just get the sense everyone's tired of the blame. Like, look, you've had the wheel for a year, like get some shit done. And, he's just lying on things that are just too obvious to people. Like
yeah,
you can lie about what's going on in Ukraine, you can lie about Venezuela and boats but you can't lie to people about what their groceries cost them. They stand there, they see it get rung up each time it goes beep beep, right, as it goes over the scanner, and then they have to pull out their card to pay for it. I mean, like, how are you going to lie to someone about something that simple?
yeah. And he's playing us all for fools, because that's his career, right? That's what he's done. That's what he did with
Yeah,
Trump University, Trump
yeah.
Steaks, Trump Air, Trump Water, Trump this, Trump that. None of it ever worked. The Taj Mahal, right? Didn't even open, and he was over budget. This fucking guy, he's not a good businessman. He doesn't understand anything. We thought this guy was going to be good with the economy because he was a good businessman. He's never been a fucking good businessman. The motherfucker ran through 400 million of his daddy's money, right? Because he has no fucking nose for business. He's got those political instincts that you talked about, that marketing deal that you talked about. That's about he knows which way the wind is blowing
Mhm.
when it comes to how people feel about him. That's about it. He sucks when it comes to making deals, right? He can't even lie well enough, for I borrowed $1 million from my dad and created No, you didn't, you fucking liar. Shut your ass. You didn't even write the art of the deal, right? We heard from the author of that book.
Well, his approval rating now on the economy specifically saw a poll today where it's at 31%. So that's even 5% below his already terrible overall approval. So now what was supposed to be his, number one attribute has
Yeah.
become a liability. So he still has the racism. So that's hanging in there with above, but the economy, because everyone knows how much money they have. They have know how much money they have in the account, what's on their card. Like none of these things are a surprise. You can't lie your way through that. But the speech was so bad, and like he's just like boring. He's slurring. He doesn't seem, he doesn't have the energy level. He looks terrible. So I just don't see how he's going to swing sentiment, because he's lost that. He may have still have political instincts, even those I feel like are in decline, because he's in
Dwindling.
mental decline. Like he can't figure things out as well. He can't come up with ways to say things that maybe, kind of hit at people, kind of get to people. So I think he's just lost out there. And I think MAGA knows it. And they're trying to figure out how to operate in this current environment of an obviously diminished Trump.
Yeah, yeah. Purely. I mean, this guy is, free falling. There's no way this guy can last 3 more years. I mean, can you imagine this guy in 2 years, where he's gonna be in terms of mental decline? I mean, if we're gonna let him, sink the ship, I mean, shit, let me off now. Because this guy, he's got no prospects for the future in terms of his mental acuity.
He's
I mean,
definitely sinking the ship, right? It didn't help that there was a drop of more Epstein photos today,
woo,
right? The day before, we'll get to this in a second, the day before the Epstein files are supposed to be
due out.
are due out, right? So, I mean, and then there was just like there was a weird Truth Social deal. I'm sure that was more corruption. Then
Had to be.
he, in what seems like desperation, like
Yeah.
malignant narcissistic desperation, announced the name change of the Kennedy Center to the Trump Kennedy Center. I mean, he's been hinting at it for a month. Then they pretended like it was a unanimous vote, but yet the black woman who's on the committee had her phone muted and she didn't get her vote in, so she went to social media to make sure everyone knew that that was only a unanimous vote, is because they literally would not let her on the Zoom call.
Yo, the racism, man. It's the racism, son. You know what I mean? I mean, look at this. Look at this. He is so, you know, his obsession with Barack Obama, with the Kennedys, with Biden, like with people who have done great things. His his obsession with excellence is why he's degrading the country, right? Because I guess he feels like if he can tear down great institutions, we'll look at his shit as not so fucking terrible. But that's not the way it's working. Look, he's got a lawsuit that he's facing because of this, whole ballroom thing, right? For tearing up, right, historical landmarks, right? He had no authority to do what he's doing, much less the way he bedazzled the Oval Office, right? All that shit's got to come down immediately.
Oh, absolutely. And now he's
Nobody
got
wants
these
to see that
fucking now
shit.
he's got these bullshit like um placards underneath the presidential photos where he has like disparaging comments. I mean, look, it's a spiral downward. It's a race to the bottom. Trump, yes, always wants to drag everyone else down to
Right.
make himself feel better, right? He always plays the everyone's bad strategy. So what the hell? It's like, that's the classic corrupt leader strategy, to say everyone's corrupt. So like it's something you have to accept. So with him, it's like everyone's a terrible person. So therefore,
Right.
you have to accept it from everyone. Instead of aspiring to greatness, he aspires to bring everyone else down to
To his level.
mediocrity. And
Yeah.
he's successful with his own followers. Like, look how
Right.
he's really just he's diminished, and they're lost, right? The Rubios, the Lindsey Grahams, just go down the list. Like these are all people that are now just absolutely decreased in
Well,
value, right? Trump has
well,
just brought them down as human beings.
well, think about one of his main naysayers, Mitt Romney, right? Who just said, you know what, I don't need this. And just went on back to his merry way of living his ridiculously rich and super spoiled life instead of, what's that word we used the other day? Countryman? Instead of being a patriot and instead of taking on the big bad bully, right? Instead of putting on your vest and taking a couple off the shoulder, right? And fighting back, right? Because, Mitt Romney was throwing blows, haymakers when Trump first said, remember his famous speech? Donald Trump's a con man, right? He came out hitting
Yeah,
hard.
he didn't have
Where
he
did
didn't
all that go?
he didn't have the gumption for the fight. Like you just
No.
compare Romney to Liz Cheney, right?
Right. Right.
Liz
Night
Cheney
and
put
day.
herself out there and just she threw as she did whatever she could do, right,
Caution to
to
the wind.
warn America about Trump. And Mitt Romney, like you said, maybe wanted to go play golf or he
Yeah.
wanted to go spend time with the family. He has a big family, good for him. But he didn't do what was right for the country. And
No.
I don't know how people like. I don't know how they.
Selfish, bro.
Yeah, there is. It's a selfish American. Yeah,
I mean,
selfish.
we coined the phrase right here. What do we call it?
Yeah,
The toxic.
toxic. Yeah,
Yeah,
toxic selfishness. Yeah,
yeah.
he's
And
fun.
and it is what it is. At least President Obama is out here, you know, doing things, being visible,
Saying
still
shit.
making
So's
statements,
Michelle.
saying
Michelle's
shit.
out saying shit.
Yes.
I was Yeah, I guess just I'll flat out say it. I was disappointed in them for a period of time,
Yep.
but I
We
think
all
they were
were.
trying to play where it's not proper for an ex-president to criticize a current president, and then I think
We passed
then
on that.
yeah they tried that maybe for the first 3 months of 2025, and
Right.
then I think they like
And they said,
realized that that didn't work,
right.
and
I think I heard Michelle say, when they go low, we go fuck that shit. I'm pretty sure she said that. Um, and that's the way they should all be. Bill Clinton should be out here taking swipes at this jackal. W should be out here taking swipes at this jackal. You know, I'm going to give Biden a pass because,
he's
because
fighting. He's
hell,
fighting cancer,
yeah,
but he's out when he can. I mean, Hillary's out still fighting
yeah,
the fight and talking shit on Trump every chance she can get. I mean, George W. Bush has been a massive disappointment, right? He's got Harlan Crow as a big
huge,
backer, and they've paid for his lifestyle, right? And he's kept quiet.
huge.
Total disappointment. You know,
Yeah. Ever since he traded Sammy Sosa, he's been a disappointment. So yeah, that's that guy. W is who he is. I became a fan of W. I didn't like W because of the 2000 presidential race. He was running against Al Gore. We all remember the Hanging Chad election. I interviewed him in Detroit for the television station I was working for at the time, WXYZ Channel 7. Plug there for the ABC affiliate in Detroit. And I asked him about reparations because the reparation conversation was just starting to pop up. And Brock, when I tell you he gave me the shittiest answer in the history of shitty answers, he wasn't ready for it. And I was so put off by it. It just disgusted me because I'm like, why isn't this guy ready? Right? At that time, I thought it was not presidential, right? We have since leapt off that cliff, right? And then 9/11 happened, right? And I became a fan. He won me over, right? With the way he brought the country together, right? And even in such a difficult time, for our Muslim community here in the States, he managed to bring the fiber of America back together behind that.
in that
And but
period until we went and fought the wrong war.
then
Look,
we fought the
I
wrong.
mean, this is a
But
guy's thing too. Like when he went out in
right,
Yankee Stadium and threw a strike, You know, like that was just a big moment. Like it kind of is stupid shit, but that's a big moment for the country, right? Sports
Right.
had shut down for a week. It was back in
Right.
New York City, and the world was watching, right? So there
Right.
was a machismo aspect to it. But yeah, he's been totally so soft and
Yeah.
disappointing.
Yep.
Certainly in Trump 2.0, it's like, dude, what are you hanging on to at this
Yeah.
point? Like, say some shit. He
Yeah.
probably can't move the needle anymore. It's almost like no
No.
one can, but no one has to because MAGA is unraveling on its own. It's just not happening fast enough. But
Right.
like that Owen Steyer or whoever this Wars guy was, it's like he's just another one like MTG pointing out that MAGA's coming apart and is going to have its own civil war reckoning to
Maggie's
deal with, you know, and there's certainly going to be one after Trump dies, but it sounds like there might be one before then because they're just getting so disgruntled with the Trump regime.
you you can't have a MAGA 2.0 because you don't have a Trump, right? There's nobody else that can get away with the lies that he tells. There's nobody else that can get away with the name calling that he does. There's no one else that can commit crimes in broad daylight and not be held accountable. There's no one else that can call 2,500 jackals to sack the Capitol in Washington, D.C. There's no one else that can do that, that has the panache to get that done.
And because Trump emasculates everyone around him, he
Right?
diminishes them all. So none of them can rise because they're always constantly being like, you know, third class citizens in their own
Yes.
administration. You know, that's
Right.
why MTG walked away. But we're also going to have like a mini civil war on the left, like because we're going to have this battle between progressives and the MAGA light middle of the roaders who are just going to want to quote restore things versus the other faction that I'm in that's going to want to really change things, not restore them,
I'm in
but
there. I'm
change
in there
them.
with you. We got to change, Brock. We got to change things. We can't have people not able to afford health care.
You know what?
That's got to change.
I, I, I mean, this is as you were saying reparations. I was thinking like, wow, there's going to need to be reparations for like 250 million Americans when we
No
get
doubt.
rid of MAGA. And then it got me to thinking like, what do we call that farm bailout? But like
Right.
reparations, right? We just like,
Right.
you know, what is the term? Like we're repairing their lives. We're trying to make up for economic atrocities that have come their way. So they got cut checks, right? Because the
Wow.
farmers got screwed by an American policy. Like it's
What?
basically a form of reparations that we just did a couple of weeks ago, right?
White
So
people are getting reparations, but,
yeah,
but, but black people ain't. We built this shit for free. We built this shit for free, baby. We didn't start getting called lazy until we stopped working for free.
yeah. It's almost like we're gonna have to get rid of the word reparations and just call it like, you know, economic you know, catch up or equivalency or, you know,
What
back pay,
back
right? Everyone can understand that, right? Back
right?
pay. Hey, we
What
didn't
do
get
we
paid
call
for
it?
that overtime we did in the 19th century. We're
What?
owed some back pay.
No doubt. But what do we call it when the Japanese were repaid for being put in those internment camps? What do we call that?
What do we
Cold
call it?
hard. Yeah,
We,
cold hard cash.
oh yeah,
That's
did it have a name? Was it called reparations or was it just cash disbursements?
Yeah, it was cash disbursements that the rest of us were never supposed to hear about. But because somebody in their infinite wisdom doesn't feel like Black America has contributed anything to this motherfucker, we ain't got shit. I mean, we are it. We are the worn out leather on the bottom of America's shoe. And we're sick of it. Shit's gotta change. And until we get, decent white America, Asian America, Hispanic America, all on board, right? Because everybody else but Black America can go borrow money, right? And start a business. Everybody else can go and find a piece of the American dream and have some assistance in building, except for Black America. What do we find? 40 plus percent of the prison population. We only 13% of the total US population. How do we get so many people in prison? It's systemic. Systemic racism has got to go away. Right? Black women, the most educated segment of society. We're looking at 8% unemployment. Right? Like at what point do we say, okay, you know what? I think they got the message. Okay, let's let them be part of our society now. Like who's going to say that? Because you know what? That's what I'm going to be saying, when we get rid of this fucking jagaloon in the White House.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I was just thinking again as you were speaking, like, this whole argument over the ACA subsidies, right? I mean, the ACA subsidies are a handout.
Yes.
They are. They're a handout.
Yes.
They're a handout I happen to agree with because I think that because it's a step towards universal health care and I want to see more Americans on having
Gotta be.
quality health care so that the well-being of the nation in aggregate is better. So I'm a believer in that. I'm a total believer in my tax dollars can be used for that purpose. Makes total sense to me. And from a selfish point of view, if we have a healthier healthcare system, it's good for all of us and it probably keeps all our prices down.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
So, we're going to let it collapse, but we're constantly having these types of decisions as to who gets what.
What?
Right? Because we give a lot of handouts to corporate
the
America.
Who's
But
the
who's
arbiter?
the beneficiary of the handouts and who isn't? And, how we view it is going to have to change coming out of MAGA because MAGA has just told us how corrupt the system is
Right.
and how greedy the system is.
Hello.
And that we have toxic capitalism and, America's been bamboozled in going along to constantly flow money to businesses, constantly make their lives easier because they're the job creators, and without them, we'd all be destitute.
Right.
And now we know it's all horseshit because only 10 people have benefited from it.
Exactly. 83, I think, is that number.
83.
83 billionaires that have benefited from it.
Yeah, it's going to have to be big changes.
Yeah, yeah. How does the lady who got felt up in the freaking, Christmas show in Colorado, Lauren Hobart, right? She gets felt up at, the Rumpelstiltskin show with a bunch of kids sitting around her while she's being groped.
Well, I think she was groping, but or maybe it was a equal opportunity grope.
Absolutely. Whatever it was inappropriate for a theater full of children and families.
Yes.
And she's a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, just because of her congressional service. She doesn't even have a high school diploma, does she? We know she doesn't have any college diploma to speak of, right? Okay, so that's the problem, right? When you have talented African American women being thrown out on their Rudy Pooties, right? Because people like Lauren Boebert have opportunities, but yet black women who got 2 and 3 degrees, plus master's degrees and advanced degrees, don't have opportunities or have the rug pulled out from under them. Like, how is that fair?
But it's not fair, and it gets worse because someone like a Lauren Boebert and many others, right, this whole MAGA movement, go to Washington, vote in a Mike Johnson,
Right.
roll along 100% with the Project 2025 initiatives, one by one, tear down DEI as in their racist initiative to take opportunities, equal opportunities away from different people in society, black people, women, Latinos, right, LGBTQ, get all that stripped away so the money continues to flow back to white America or people like Lauren Boebert, right? So it became this circular game. So it's not just that she's enriched herself off deceit, but she's bought into and supported and been a key cog in a movement
Yep.
that has exacerbated where the money has flowed in America, and it's
Yep.
been pulled away. Right, we're creating poverty in
Yep.
America as a policy, and we're about to
Even
create we're about to create declining life expectancy in America by
right.
ripping away people's health care.
Right. And letting measles outbreaks run rampant, right? Because there's no need for these vaccines because they're causing autism. I got two kids, neither one of them are autistic, and they both got the full complement of vaccines. Um, Plus, when we think about it, Brock, we have got to get back to what we were calling for, 6 months ago, a more fair, more just, multiracial, multi-ethnic coalition of people that want to see, you know, everyone have access to the American dream. Right now, we can still predict the level of success that you'll rise to based on your zip code, based on where you were born. The odds are so much against you. If you haven't read the book The Other Wes Moore, our amazing governor from the state of Maryland, he has written a brilliant book about the other guy named Wes Moore that grew up on the same block as him in Baltimore. His life was not nearly as spectacular. And you can imagine what happens to young African American men in the city of Baltimore that don't have access to the kind of opportunities that Wes was steered toward. Right? Have you seen The Wire? Have you seen an episode of The Wire? That's all you need to see to understand what could have possibly happened to the other Wes Moore. That book is a great read. Get it on tape. I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Okay. The Wire is absolute classic television. I've seen The Wire 100 times.
Some of the best TV ever made.
Love The Wire. Um,
Quick, hit me.
Before we get to that, actually, we stopped building the multi-ethnic, multiracial coalition. We stopped talking about it. We've even stopped protesting.
Yep.
We're
Why?
ICE is still running around throwing brown people in detention centers. In fact, today there were a bunch of deaths announced in ICE facilities, which is the natural outgrowth of these horrendous conditions that over time people are going to die of disease, improper care, just over time, and jamming too many people into these facilities. But we really have lost sort of the vigor. I mean, we've had it at the voting booth, but we've lost it kind of on the streets. Since ICE left Chicago, that was a good fight in Chicago. So they're probably going to avoid the blue states, and that's probably why they're down in Louisiana right now or in Memphis. Correct. But I feel like maybe we're happy that MAGA's somewhat imploding, but the implosion can't happen fast enough, and they still have all the levers of power. So we need to find our protest mojo again, because we're going to have to get back out on the streets to accelerate the downfall of MAGA. Like, we have to accelerate it. We can't wait for it just to fall apart only under its own weight. People are dying left and right in detention centers.
Right. And after elections are canceled next fall, it's too late.
Wait. Oh, yeah.
It's too late. It is. I feel like it's too late now, but after that, I feel like that's what we're waiting for to happen. We're waiting for some, ridiculous shoe like that to drop.
Yeah, so egregious that we're faced with, the actual tangible loss of our democracy versus this, the courts and constitutional crisis and things that don't impact us. Like, you don't get to vote anymore. Right. You've lost your basic right in the democracy. Oh my God, Mark, that's another 11 months in that election. And quick hits for me. Our two favorites, speaking of people that can be leaders of a multicultural, multi-ethnic coalition on the left and the resistance. our two stars came out strong again today and last night. Jasmine Crockett was on CNN, absolutely eviscerating
Sure.
Trump within minutes of that speech, and just came across like, this is excellence. That was buffoonery. I mean, it was just so clear, and she's still such a leader. And I'm really, I guess I'll let him have a great primary down in Texas, but there's no way anyone should be saying that she should not be running for the Senate. At, should be widely supported. And AOC was out just you know laughing at JD Vance. She was asked like how she felt she would do if she went head to head in a presidential race with JD Vance, and she just gave the 3-word or 4-word, "I would stomp him." Right, just literally just like almost dismissive of JD Vance as a political foe.
As she
So
should be.
yeah, so AOC and Jasmine just once again entertained us while mocking MAGA, which
No
is,
doubt.
still my favorite way of us going about. Second favorite way. Protesting on the streets is still number one. What do you got for me?
Word. My money is definitely not on Cash, as in Cash Patel. Apparently, the MIT professor that was murdered is being linked now to the shooting at Brown University. And they are now looking into whether or not the same rental car was seen at Brown University around the time of the shooting and near the home of the MIT professor. So they have botched yet another major investigation that is tearing apart the very fabric of American life and American excellence. MIT, Brown University, two of the finest institutions anywhere in the world, and we've got people getting murdered in their halls. I mean, it's unfathomable. This clown is asleep at the wheel. Bongino has been gone for weeks. His shit ain't even in the office at the FBI building. He's been gone, just collecting a check, right? Because it was too hard. I didn't know it was too much work. The days are too long. Get the fuck out of here.
So when they came out and said everything's safe and there's nothing to worry about, clearly there is still something to worry about. Particularly, it sounds like if you're in the math and sciences field, because the shooting at Brown was in the engineering department at MIT. I feel like the professor was like a math or
Yep.
economics professor. So the shooter seems to be
The hard subjects.
anti math.
He's anti-MAGA because they're anti-math too. Shit. What else you got?
Yash Patel can't. I mean, I don't know why. He seems like an easy guy to fire. First
Yeah.
of all, he's a man of color. So, like, I don't even know how he got in there, right? He should be the easiest one for them to fire because,
Probably that wandering eye.
yeah, so,
That was
I
rude.
mean,
I'm sorry, God.
it seems like he'd be really easy to replace really quickly with someone who just can't even, you can't find worse, right?
Right.
I mean, he's he's botched every single major incident. He's fucked up. And he's on the side making a mockery of the administration. He's just bringing more visibility to their corruption. And Trump can't be happy with that. He wants to be the only guy who's allowed to be corrupt. He can't have the other guys being corrupt.
That
So the
part.
fact that he's flying around in those planes all the time, running up a bill and yelling at subordinates because they're not driving his girlfriend's drunk friends home from parties. I mean, come on. What the fuck is going? I mean, seriously, how is
They're
anyone?
not serious people, dude.
Yeah,
They're not serious people. They're not to be taken seriously, and fuck them all. All right. Also, before we go, one last parting shot. Trump signed that order, an executive order to further let the FDA study the medicinal purposes of marijuana. I thought we already did that in the Boondocks episode. It doesn't make marijuana legal. He just signing shit to try to, just take away attention from the Epstein file. I don't know what
Yeah,
the
it's
hell.
just a study. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll look into what he actually did on that front. I mean, I think we should legalize marijuana. I mean, so many states have already. I'm like,
right,
you know, I mean, it's got to be decriminalized, except
right.
for the red states that want to use it to continue to throw black people in jail. Other than
Sure,
that, like, I
sure.
mean, so much of the country is smoked. I mean, no one even considers that a drug anymore.
Yeah. And it's still categorized with, heroin and LSD and, under the Controlled Substances Act. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're just looking for more ways to lock black and brown people up. So,
Yeah,
whatever.
white people do not go to jail for marijuana
No.
usage or for having a joint in
They
their
are told
pocket.
to stop it,
Yeah.
you know. And hey,
Or don't smoke it here. Hey, don't do that
yeah.
here. Do that at home. Hey,
Now in Times Square you're fine. But when you start getting over a little bit closer to Third Avenue, Second Avenue on the Upper West Side, we're gonna have to ask you
No, there's
tonight,
a lot of marijuana in New York. It's legal.
dude.
The,
No
the,
doubt.
the smell, the smell. I was in the city yesterday, man. You just smell it. Even in
Smell
your
is
car,
relative.
windows up, you smell it.
It's wafting.
Yeah, it's all over the
It's
place.
wafting.
But you know what? God bless. Let people, whatever, whatever gets you through the day. I'm fine with.
Yeah, man. All right, buddy. Let's rack
Okay.
it up and do it again tomorrow. Let's see if these Epstein files come out.
What are you betting on? Yes or no?
I got a dozen donuts that says they don't come anywhere near getting out.
Okay, I'm gonna say yes, something comes out, but it's a very hybrid, sliced and diced, Jinsu knife.
Heavily redacted.
Yeah, national security is gonna get invoked tomorrow. I think we'll get something, but nothing of
Nothing
substance.
of substance. Yep. All right, buddy.
All right, we'll see. We'll talk about it tomorrow. All
Thoughts
right,
and
Mark.
points.
Take
Peace.
care.
All righty.